if you're not careful. Because jumping up and down can cause death on a bad dice roll. So it's kind of funny in some ways. I think I sent you a screenshot a while back too. I got both my character and Kim killed by accident. I think I sent you a screenshot a while back too. I got both my character and Kim killed by accident. I think I sent you a screenshot a while back.
Give me
ready?
one moment.
Okay.
There. I think.
Double checking.
Audio's coming through somewhere. Okay. I would like to apologize to everyone. That was a false start. We are live on other platforms, but I actually forgot to go live on the official channel. So I guess we're just starting here. Welcome to What's This Game? This is Snake with me. This episode we are covering Disco Elysium. Thank you so much for joining, and we've already been talking a little bit, and as Snake was mentioning, this game is a RPG with dice rolling, and he failed one of the first checks in the game, and he was mentioning... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Heart attack. He had a heart attack, and it was very dramatic, because it's narrated, and he tells you, like, you start feeling pain in your chest, and your blood runs cold. And I fell over trying to get my tie off of a ceiling fan, which I don't think I was supposed... Even if I would have failed it, I don't think I was supposed to... You can make a fragile character if you're not careful. I was min-maxing, so I went, like, completely with a, like, intellectual character, sort of. I started out that way. And there's a lot of different builds you can do based on... not only, like, there's specific attributes you add to, but then there's, like, a thought process tree where you rationalize your own ideas that you learn about in Revachol.
Yeah, you have, like, those are more of, like, your, like, talents, I guess. So you have your basic skills, which are your mind, your psyche, your agility, and your, like, physique. So, no, your... Like, I can't
it's
remember.
Motorics, physique.
Yeah, motorics,
intellect,
which is, I guess, is your, like, dexterity.
And like psi or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, so you have your, you have your brain, your, like, intellect, which are two different, I guess, stats somehow, because you have your, like, intelligence and wisdom, which I guess if you play D&D are different. You use each one for different things. One are more like learned experiences, and one are like, oh, I just know about this. For example, encyclopedia is a mind skill, not a intellect skill, because it's just like something you've learned or read, or just things you're withholding in your brain. Or my favorite skill, which is the visual calculus. You can use your, like, brain to kind of see, like, calculations and trajectory of, like, ballistics or, like, tire tracks or footsteps, and you can, like, essentially, like, Batman detective mode and see how a crime scene unraveled just by using your mind. And that's not an intellect skill because it's not something that is necessarily interacting with other people. So it's really interesting how they split those up. Same with motorics and physique. For example, like, just straight up strength is physique, obviously, but your reaction time is a motorics.
Yeah, exactly. And there was another one that was, I think the savoir-faire is in motorics too, even though it's more of a dialogue / action thing. It's like knowing what to do in the moment, knowing to do the right thing in the moment and just doing it. It's hard to explain in English because there's not an English translation for it. It's like a French term.
Right. It's just like embodying confidence to exert, not necessarily, it's to slightly gain advantage in social dynamics by exerting confidence and just kind of like being stoic and charismatic.
part
It's
of
like a
it,
combination of
definitely.
all of that together to get yourself a slight up, or just so people will look at you more respectfully. It's very interesting. Like I said, there's no English translation for it. It's just, it kind of is what it is.
It's kind of being diplomatic, but it's more than that. There's more to it than that. You know, there's an ability of feeling out the social situation and acting accordingly. And like you said, presenting yourself in a way that demands respect as well. You know, you don't walk in like a slouch.
And all of this is kind of presented to you before you even start playing the game. You have to kind of make your character, or at least pick one of these skills to be your main skill, which gives you a buff in other regards. And then you know, divvy out your skills. Do I want to be more a smart cop? Do I want to be a more tough cop? You just kind of like pick, okay, I guess this. And you don't know where it's going to go yet. So whenever you finally make your character, you start hearing a voice in your head, and it's like essentially the name on the screen is Ancient Reptilian Brain, and I guess it's just like the very inner core instinct, the dark recesses of your character's mind just kind of talking to you and taunting you, like, are you really gonna just sit here and die? And then another voice starts talking to you, and they both are just like, are you gonna just lay there and die, or what's up? And you're like, okay, I guess I'll get up. So after you finally banter with your inner dialogue, which is how most of the game is told, it is told from the perspective of HBD, your character, and it's told through him and his partner, and you literally talk and interact with things, and you pick dialogue choices. But most of the game is told to you, the player, through HBD's inner dialogue. So logic will talk to you sometimes, reasoning will talk to you, your esprit de corps, which is like your cop instincts. Like all of these things will like literally be talking inside of your brain, and you the player can hear it because HBD is thinking it / feeling it, and it's all happening sometimes instantly, and sometimes he's just sitting there for a while, and people are like, hey, are you good? And he's like, oh yeah, no worries, I'm just, you know, insane, so don't mind me. So you finally wake up off the floor, and you are so fucking, you're still drunk even though you have been passed out, and your character has no health, no anything, no morale, and if you fail any of these early dice checks, as Spurgsnake did, one of your earliest objectives is to get your tie. It's on the ceiling fan, and it's spinning around, and you just have to go and grab it. And if you fail it, you can just straight up die. And since you don't have any medications or anything like that, it's very easy to get a game over right at the beginning of the game. And I found myself doing that, not at that check, but there was another check where I had to, I don't know, do anything physical. I would just, oh, okay, I'm dying. Don't mind me.
Okay.
I'm just gonna die. Just had a heart attack. I think I had 2 heart attacks at the beginning of the game. I don't remember exactly I streamed all of this. If you want to check it out on my channel, Insanity, at Annie O'Ryan. Well, it's not at, whatever. You can see I streamed like 14, 15 episodes of this, and I definitely died more times than I would like to admit, and I will admit, and you can even see for yourself, I sometimes just cheesed dice check rolls because I'm like, I'm just gonna roll it, fail. Okay, quick load, roll it, fail,
F9.
quick load, roll it, fail, quick
F9.
load. Yep. Just F9. Yep, F9. So I will admit, sometimes I just cheesed it. I decided one of my defining character traits at the beginning of the game would be, I will get through any door. I am the door opener. I will get through any door. And I failed one door in the game, and I just couldn't live with myself. And if and when I do a playthrough of this game again, I'm going straight to that door, and I'm going to roll it as many times as it takes to get double 6s, which is in the D&D terms,
Guaranteed.
it's like a super critical. So you roll 2 dice on almost every check, and it's I guess the number is 2 through 12 because you can't get a 1 in rolling dice. So
Right.
2 is a instant fail, so snake eyes, and double 6s is critical no matter what. You automatically pass it, even if you have no proficiency in that skill at all. Even if the check is like 25 or whatever, if you roll double 6s, you pass it.
Right. It's a guaranteed pass to the check. Yeah, and Snake Eyes, like you said, it's a critical failure. Like it tells you right there in big red letters, you critically failed. I was doing the same thing. There was one that I had a very low percentage on trying to win, and I did it while Kim was asleep. Kim Mitsurugi's your cohort and throughout the whole game, and it said I can't remember which part said it, but it was like, oh, it's a shame nobody saw that. And I was like, oh, you son of a... Yeah, it made me feel like, oh, I should have had Kim standing right there so I had bragging rights. Because that's so, And so now I was trying to pass that same check. I'm like, ugh. It won't.
On that day where Kim was off doing whatever he was doing, the only thing I did was steal something. And then the rest of the day, I'm like, I don't want to do anything else without Kim. That's the only thing I wanted him to leave for. I could have done it while he was asleep, but like...
Yeah, it didn't work out for me that way either. I did try to go while he was sleeping. And then, like you said, he does. I don't want to give away too much of it, but he goes away for a whole day. And that is what... It screwed me up a little bit because I had to stay busy. I was bored. I had to read a book. I found out what kind of bird I like. I talked to a couple of old men. I threw their ball into the ocean. They got mad at me. Oh, yeah. I stole a sandwich. I stole a map. I tried to steal a map. So, like, I'm with you on that. You want to have Kim around for the dialogue, but there are only so many things you could do drugs while he's away too.
Yeah, he won't harp on you.
You won't lose your
morale
so much.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He won't roast you for that.
He did tell me he's not my mom. Yeah, he was like, I'm not your mother. And I was like, okay, let's boogie.
So after you finally collect yourself and get dressed without dying a couple of times, you can check yourself in the mirror, and then you finally get to see what your character looks like. And he is a drunk, slightly overweight, older man with mutton chops, and he has a terrible, horrifying Joker smile that is... his brain calls the look. And
yes,
you can attempt through several ways to remove the look, but it is a nigh impossible feat at the very beginning of the game. So both of the checks, I think, you can just keep doing over and over, and there's one check that is a red check. Like I said, there's multiple ways to do it, but you fail your checks or pass them, and you leave your room, because I guess you're ready for the day. You meet a girl out in the hall who will become very important later on. She talks to you for a little bit, and it's like, oh, okay, so you're alive. Cool. I'm glad. You two talk for a little bit, and she tells you that you are a cop, and you're like, okay. I can choose to believe you or not. I have no idea. I have no clue who I am. If you didn't check the promotional material, like I said, I went in completely blind. I didn't know I was a cop. I woke up, and I was like, okay, I'm just some fucker. And then I walk out in the hall, and she's like, oh, hey, Mr. Officer. And I'm like, I don't look or feel or sound or act or smell like a cop.
None of those things.
Okay, I'll choose to believe you. I don't have a gun. I don't have a badge. Or
shoes.
Right. So she goes back into her room, and you head downstairs as for however long your new partner has been waiting downstairs for you. Kim Kitsuragi has been sent from precinct 51, 47. I don't know which one are you in?
I'm in 40. Your character's from 41. He's from 57.
Okay, 41 and 57. Okay, yeah. So he's 57, and he's sent to collaborate / kind of compete with you for this case. You two have been assigned official partners. However, this has been a slight pissing contest as far as jurisdiction and who's going to get credit and stuff like that. So, whoever does better and presents better and kind of claims credit for the case is going to get whatever. It's company politics. So, Kim is sent to be your partner, and you go up to him, and he says, pleasure to meet you. I'm Kim. And you're like, I have no idea who I am. I don't know who I am. Who am I? So you can choose multiple ways to act like this. You can either just be fully frontal with, like, I have no idea who I am, or you can play it off. I really like the options on how you can choose to play your complete memory loss, because your character was sent here 4 days ago. The body had been hanging for 3 days before you had arrived, and now, because of your bender, it's been sitting there for a total of 7 days as of this morning. Turns out you were sent here to investigate a murder, and you were whatever reason, you decided, nah, no, it's fine. And you went on a complete fucking bender and trashed up the hotel and made yourself kind of a bad reputation around Martinez, which is a city that you're in. I really like how all of the characters at the beginning interact with you, especially Gart, the restaurant / cafeteria manager.
I don't want to call him bartender. Yes,
he's the cafeteria manager. That's what he classifies himself as, even though the building that you're staying in, the Whirling in Rags, is a inn / cafeteria / restaurant / meeting hall. It's just kind of it's an inn that's more than that.
It's the place to be in town, really, because they serve food, which you can find out more about. There's a door, like you said, you wanted to open all the doors. There's a door that nobody knows what's behind it, and karaoke. So there's entertainment there. Like, you can hang out and do stuff. It's the hot spot in Martinez. There's also a bookstore. When you first leave, I don't want to get too far ahead of you though.
No, you're okay.
Because we're just now coming down the stairs. Oh, yes. Gart is very upset with you because you have broken some stuff. Both in the room
completely
and
trashed
out of the room.
Yeah. And out of the room, he is, for a majority of the game, his idle animation is him trying to repair a bird that it has been seemingly broken by who knows. And
and much like you said, there you can lie. You could say it was that broad over there. You can. There's so many options. It feels like a dictionary-sized choose your own adventure to me. Like, you can just, all right, flip to page 26, and then there's 5 more choices instead of just the normal 1 or 2. I really enjoy this game because of that. If you like story-driven games, this is really worth it.
Especially ones that matter, like, on skills. Like, if you like kind of like Fallout and things like that, or like pen and paper RPGs, where if you just have more of this skill, then more things become available to you. Something that I felt like it benefited me hugely throughout the entire game was Encyclopedia. Like, I gained that skill pretty early, and as that was like my primary focus, I could put like 6 levels into it, and I had some gear to make my stats more on the encyclopedia skill. And then I had some of the thoughts, which are the side tree to your skills. They're like your talents. You can pick, like, you have to spend skill points to get talent slots, but then you can get a bunch of talents that you can put in and out. And they're very diverse, such as one that I used and benefited greatly from, which is anytime you do an encyclopedia check, you get money. So I was just constantly just thinking and being like, bing, bing, and just getting money. So not only was I gaining knowledge in certain checks and in certain circumstances, just when looking and talking and hearing things, I was constantly getting money anytime an encyclopedia check would go off.
That's awesome. I can't recall what it was off the top of my head, but it was early on, and it will heal 1 health for every check that I pass, or it will heal 1 morale for every check that I pass, depending on which, one it was. And that there are some that can really benefit you. But you pay a penalty for a while you're rationalizing, you're internalizing these thoughts. And it, like you said, there's a very diverse group. It goes from basically like nationalism, it's not our world that it's in, but it's set in a very post-World War II kind of Civil War. It's got this huge mix of like Eastern European feel. France is in there a little bit. It feels very not American.
Yeah, it's not America. You're not in America, but you're also not like in Europe. You're not like in Russia. You're not anywhere specific. It's so many places amalgamated together.
Right.
And one of the
you
characters
can feel
mentions,
that in it though. Like
one of the characters mentions that she's taking an airship, and she's taking it thousands of miles away, and it's like, well, how many thousands? Because the Earth is only however many thousand. It's only like what 5,000-6,000 miles long. I don't know, whatever.
I know it's like 3,000 from New Jersey to California. So that's like almost half.
Okay, well, I clearly don't know.
That.
That's my Americanism showing.
But yeah, like it feels like a lot of regular history was taken and put into it, but changed. You know, like it's not a Russian Revolution, even though there's some like Bolshevik style rationalizing you can do. You can be as like a nationalist, and there's totally racist people there who hates every foreigner. You can be a bleeding heart liberal and give everything away. Communism is very strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of ists and isms in the game that you can ascribe to or like revolt against. You can, your character can decide to just be like, I fucking hate women. I'm just going to be a misogynist. And, well, I mean, my character ended up being a misogynist because it ended up benefiting me for most of the game, so.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine, because there's some characters that will probably bend to your will because of it. Like, okay, you know.
One of the only characters you really have to worry about is a like rich lady on a boat. Like, as long as you're not rude to her, like most of the other characters in the game, like, who cares? You're mostly dealing with guys, so it doesn't matter if you're a misogynist. And in fact, some of the characters like, oh yeah, I also hate women. One of the, I think he like runs, he runs like the mob essentially. He's like, oh, I didn't know you felt that way, and it's like, well, you know, I guess I'm based.
Yeah.
So
which one, Titus or the?
What
was
the
it
big
Titus
fat guy?
or the Union? Oh, okay, I know.
I can't remember his name.
Angus, I think. I know. Well, they call him the fat one a couple times. That's why.
Yeah. So he's got the really like voice like this, and he talks like hello. That's how he talks.
It's so good.
The voice acting,
character is so
range,
distinct. It's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to you walk downstairs, you meet your partner, and he politely chastises you and says, "Hey, let's get to work." So you finally get yourself together, talk a little bit more to some of the people. In the front, there's kind of a group of like union workers, kind of on break, just chatting about. You can talk to them or just keep moving. And a bunch of people in the restaurant that are just kind of background characters. There's one that you can talk to, but he only says the one thing the entire game, so he's not even really a character. Then there's like an old lady that doesn't really do anything for a couple of days. So there's a bunch of characters that are in there, but you can't really do anything with yet. So you get moving, you head outside, and as soon as you step out the door, you can see that the way to the crime scene is conveniently open for you because some asshole crashed their car into it and blew the fence open. So I guess you could just walk right through the hole in the fence. And as soon as you walk around the corner, you can see the corpses hanging from the tree. And I want to say they did a really good job, like, with the corpse. It made me feel gross, like, the whole time, like, interacting with the corpse.
Yeah, that was also well voice acted, and I liked the art that they used for his bloated face. His eyes were all buggy. That was one of the first things I did, and I remember talking to him, but I don't remember everything he said, and I didn't get all the information out of him that I could, because later on, you can use what you say to him with other people, because you have that knowledge.
And you're not being metaphorical either. through insanity or soul mending, or if your character is literally a psychic medium, who the fuck knows? You can, through dialogue, literally start communing with the corpse, and he will briefly come back from the other side to talk to you about how he died. And if you ask him how he died, he said it was love. Love did me in. And that's really the big clue he gives you. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay, that doesn't help me, but okay, it has something to do with the girl, probably. Cool, good to know.
that's all you get. And a few details about him personally, but he doesn't. Yeah, you don't get a great lead out of communicating with the dead. Which
even though you're able
sucks.
to, and it's an awesome moment,
Right.
and it's really a highlight of the early part of the game, talking to the corpse. After you're done talking to the corpse, or before you do, there is a kid and another kid that are hanging out in the yard or courtyard, sort of, right around the Whirling and Rags in the apartment buildings nearby. The Whirling and Rags yard is fenced off where the corpse is, and then on the other side of the fence is the little kind of side yard that the apartment buildings have. So the one kid's on the apartment building side, and the other kid's on this side, constantly throwing rocks at the corpse. As he said, maximum velocity. So the corpse is absolutely obliterated by this kid and his super cannon arm, allegedly.
Yeah, there's a lot of post-mortem damage to the hanging man. And the first thing that, you want to talk to the kid and see what he knows. If you can investigate the crime scene, if, like you mentioned, the visual calculus, I probably in real life have visual algebra. I'm not that smart, but like to a degree. But that it's a I can understand why the guy flipped out beforehand, because this guy's been up in the tree 7 days. You got this kid over here throwing rocks at it.
Other people have already came off and looted the corpse.
That's where I was going. When you inspect the corpse, you find out it's been robbed, except for its shiny white boots, because nobody could get them off.
Because of the swelling and all of the stuff literally pooling at the bottom of his boots. So his feet are so swollen, and his flesh is now literally fusing to the inside of the ceramic boots. So they couldn't get that off without bisecting his legs. The rest of his armor, which is what he's wearing, has been taken, as well as his clothes, because he wasn't wearing nothing underneath it. He was dressed, and if you investigate, you can find out the rest of his clothes were thrown in the dumpster nearby. It's important to know that somebody obviously took the clothes off, didn't want them, and then threw them in the dumpster. Curiously, the dumpster is locked, so who has the key to this? Who could have thrown the clothes in there? So that's a mystery that you have to, or you don't have to, but you can solve, that will help you lead to a better and more conclusive conclusion about your case. Yeah. So you don't want to just go around accusing and be like, okay, well, he was hanged and I blame this kid out in the yard because he was throwing rocks at it. You know, like you don't want to just go pointing fingers, because that'll make Kim look bad, and we don't want to do that. We like Kim.
Yeah, he's aware that there's a little bit of a competition between the precincts, and you would think that the precinct you're from would send a good cop to compete with Kim, but they seemed to not have. But as you're going through all this, like, because I didn't know where the key was, and there's other ways to open lock things. But yeah, that's the first little miniature, and that's like a little side quest you get, is finding who threw away the clothes and why. Kim doesn't feel too good about it, like going through the trash, so you do it, and like you find all the stuff, and in the trash, you also find a crumpled up clipboard. The clipboard with crumpled up papers and stuff on it, and turns out that belongs to you. It's a police clipboard.
It's your
And,
investigation. It's essentially your police journal. It's your case file. It's everything that you brought to investigate the case and your case tools, kind of all in one. Because it's a clipboard, but it also opens up into a compartment that has, and it has like another compartment inside of there with stuff in it. So, if you pass some checks to get it open, you can learn even more about yourself really early on in the game, such as your character had a girlfriend and presumably she has now left you, and you're kind of sad about that because you've kept this letter and it might explain some of the drinking.
and some other things. We got the crumpled up clipboard and stuff now. We saw the tire tracks and the busted fence, so we'll just put that in the back of our mind for now. We're just observing the surroundings of our game. Oh, and there was a broken window in the room you were in when you woke up. Oh, yeah, we said that. We said that the whole room was trashed. The whole room was trashed.
The broken window, since we didn't cover it, the broken window in your room is because you threw your shoe through it. You got real drunk and pissed off. You were listening to something on the tape recorder in the room and got real pissed off and threw your shoe through the window. Why?
Right. So the night before was a real
because you're
nightmare.
HBD. That's why.
That's right. You're a disco cop, or at least you seems to be that it was, and that's what's neat because you can play it more straight because you do get tempted to do things like that. They do tempt you with drugs. They do tempt you with alcohol, smoking, and you have a choice to do them or not do them, and that's kind of neat in my opinion. And like with most RPGs, they have benefits and debuff,
and
buff
negatives,
and debuff.
yeah. I felt like alcohol had obvious. As soon as you drink it, you lose health. Now
Same with the cigarettes.
I feel like I thought cigarettes damaged your morale.
I know the speed does. Peptide.
Yeah, I think the cigarette. Maybe I got it reversed then. Maybe the cigarettes do your health, and then the alcohol does your morale. Because one of them, it's. I know it's one of the two is the other one. So I felt like cigarettes, for the most part, just had nothing but benefits for me since my character was all like mind and intellect skills. So the entire game, I'm just like, okay, let's talk to this guy. And
right. Exactly.
It really helped me pass checks, especially with the encyclopedia, because now I'm just like, okay, I can think better. Aha. Oh, yes, I do know about birds.
Right. And there are some weird subjects that you just pick up. Like I like it because it helps world build a lot. It's a lot of trivia, and it might not be directly related to the moment, but it does paint a great picture of this environment.
A skill that goes hand in hand with the encyclopedia for learning about the world is, even though I like, and it was my main skill, the visual calculus, I feel like my favorite skill in the whole game was shivers. It is a body skill, which I think it should be a psyche skill because it makes whatever. Shivers is an ability that you know how sometimes whenever you're just sitting there and you get that tingle down your spine, and then you just have like a sense about something, and surprisingly you're extremely and exactly correct about it for some reason. Like, oh hey, somebody's watching me. Oh hey, what's up? Hey, I didn't know, how long were you standing there? Like, you just know things sometimes, and that's the shiver skill. Sometimes HBD will just be walking around, and then he'll just the camera will start zooming out, and your character will just be like, I pick up the scent of a pie on the wind, and in the distance I hear dishes being washed and a family bickering before dinner time. And then you get the option, like, do I feel and hear beyond that? And then you're like, what's to the north? What's to the south? What's to the east? What's to the west? And there are multiple points in the game where you could just ignore that and just, okay, I don't have time for this zoom out thing, whatever. But every time that came up, I'm just like, yeah, tell me, what is to the north? Oh, the coal city. I want to know about the coal city. What's in the coal city? And then my character will just start like divining things. Like a man starts driving home from a late night. His car is slightly veering off the road as he gets too tired to go on. So he pulls to the side, lighting a cigarette, hoping to get one last endorphin rush before his drive home. It's like, why am I knowing what is happening right now? Am I clairvoyant? Am I a psychic? I don't know, but Shivers, most of the game was just like my favorite skill because I was just like, I know things. Towards the end of the game, it really paid off too because I was looking for one of the suspects to the crime, and I'm like, I don't know, and I come across a mural, and I just start looking at it, and then it has like a Shivers check, and I'm just like, okay, hold on, I just back out, put on all my Shivers gear, so I get like +2 or +3 to it. And I roll the dice and I fail it one time. So I'm like, okay, hold on. And I go into my skills and I level up my Shivers one time, which resets all white checks. And then I roll it one more time and I pass it. And then my character is just like, I know where she is. I'm just like, what? And he's like, I know. She's right there. Go. And I'm just like, okay, trust me.
Yes. So I don't want to give too much away, but yes, you're looking for a woman. Her name is Ruby. And you come upon a building that you can't quite get into, and that's where the mural is. And yeah, you start doing some divining, and you get a chance to push it a little bit more too. There's a ladder and a sewer pipe. Kim's like, I'm not going in the sewer pipe, dude. Not doing it. And so your character's like, yeah, I'll go up the ladder. And he's like, you're going up by yourself because I'm too old for this. He basically gives you that line from Lethal Weapon. And so you're like, I'm going to teleport to the roof. And so I roll the check to teleport to the roof, and it teleports me to the roof. And then
are you serious? That actually happened?
Yeah, well, hold on, because Kim shouts from down there. He's like, for the record, you just climbed the ladder with your eyes closed.
I love this
He took
game.
my moment away from me. That's what I mean. Like it's because as I was playing, like you were mentioning with Shivers, there is a supernatural level to this game. There's like a ethereal plane is constantly in existence, whether you want it to be or not, and you can
and it's not just your character being crazy. Yeah, it's not your character just being crazy or weird or like mental or no. The supernatural and the paranatural factually exist in this universe. To what extent? The game doesn't exactly ever tell you. There are literal cryptids and there are probable cryptids, and then there might be a interdimensional like warp mist thing that is existing around inside the world called the Pale.
Right.
Who knows how real the Pale is and what it is, but it exists. So it's not just maybe. So sometimes your character doing this thing is not just your character being like, I'm crazy, I can just do things. No, you might actually be tapping into the supernatural forces around you somehow. The game doesn't really lean into that, but it's in the background in like 2 or 3 layers removed. But it lets you know at all times, like, hey, the supernatural exists. For example, on the coast there's this church, and this church there is something scientifically fucking bizarre going on. People have been researching it. There's like some sort of anomaly in this church that is factually existing. We just don't know how to see it or interact with it yet. We don't know what it is, but it's the fact that we don't know what is there means that we know something is there.
Right. When you stand in a certain spot, all the sound goes away, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what it was,
silence.
but it was like
it
was a really
It's like a pillar of silence, and as you get higher and higher, it's more and more quiet. So there's just some crazy guy who's worshiping this weird silent void tear thing. Like I said, who knows how real it is, and maybe it's just people going crazy, but the game treats it completely real. And because the game treats it real, you, the player, have to approach it as, okay, this exists.
Right. You can lean into it, and you can be vocal about how you feel, and make those types of things. You can be more like a Scooby-Doo detective versus, just like a drunk private eye kind of guy. But at the same time, like, you played an intellectual character, and so did I. And what happens is there's another one that's called Inland Empire. And that one does a lot of that one does a lot of dialogue with you. That's right. And both of those kind of contradict with the logic. Because I had a high logic and high rhetoric. And so, like, my logic would be like, it would say something totally opposite of what Inland Empire would say, or one of the other.
And sometimes
like,
they'll all be saying it at the same time. Like, you'll get a logic,
That's
a
what I mean,
rhetoric,
yeah.
and an Inland Empire all at the same time, and two of them will say the same thing, and one of them will be like, both of those guys are crazy. And you'll be like,
that's logic usually for me.
Now I'm arguing with myself. Okay, so which of these do I trust? Because clearly I believe all of them, but which of them do I trust?
Exactly. And that's what you get this opportunity to kind of push how you do your detective work around Kim, and he's not buying the cryptid stuff half the time. He's very down to earth. Very matter of factual. So when you're listening to the wind, he's side-eyeing you the whole time. Like, what are you doing? Okay. He's like, I guess so. And
depending on
but
how
he's
you,
a good sport
you
about
interact, and depending on how you interact with him and how open and honest you are with him, you can either get Kim to kind of be totally against you and think this guy's nuts, or he can be like, okay, I don't always agree with you, but you are my ride and die, and I will defend and support you until the end, literally. I will take a bullet for you if I have to, and I might if I need to. So, I felt like out of everyone in the game, Kim was the only one I could trust, because I didn't know my own character. I didn't know anyone else. I felt like Kim was the only one that's like, hey, I'm here to do the job, and I'm here to save your ass from fucking up the job. It's like, okay, I can get in line with both of those.
Well, because he walks in on your 3-day bender. You had you basically wake up from overdosing, and then just start a murder investigation. Except you find out all your shit's gone. No gun, no badge, no clipboard. And so you just kind of start winging it, You're just like, well, we'll follow Kim's lead for now because I don't know what I'm doing, and you build that relationship with him along the way. Like you said, you could either convince him you're a nutcase, or he becomes a really good friend to you.
A lot of this that we've laid the groundwork for so far is just on the very first morning. So, you have a lot of options to do on the very first day. You can just walk around town and start exploring and just talking to people. You can focus on the murder investigation, focus on this. You can look for suspects. There is a lot that you, the player, have to do, because the only main objective is solve the murder. And it's like, okay, how? Okay, well, that's up to you. You have to figure it out. I'm not going to, the game isn't going to be like, step 1, investigate this. Step 2, investigate that. Now go talk to this guy. Now do this. It'll only give you those steps once those steps have become apparent. Once you are fully done investigating the body, you'll get the objective, get the body down. Well, okay, now it's apparent that, yeah, okay, if we're done investigating it, we need to get it down from the tree. How the fuck do we do that? The objective doesn't say, get the body down, go talk to this guy and he'll get the body down for you. No, it doesn't tell you. You have to try other ways. And one of the ways that you can try is, hey, Kim, give me your gun. And Kim will be like, no, I'm going to do this. So he takes a shot, and he whiffs the thing. So you get the chance to shoot it, and I missed the bullet, and I didn't get the body down. I was like, okay, whatever. and the two kids that are in the yard at this time are really starting to roast you. We haven't really talked about them yet, but the entire time they have been just making fun of you, calling you pigs, literally calling you the F slur. They've just been completely roasting you. And you have the option to snap and just be like, and aim the gun at the girl over the fence. And she's like, fucking do it, blow me away, you fucking coward. And then there is a roll to pull the fucking trigger, and I tried.
Did you get it?
I whiffed the roll. I didn't have the conviction.
I wonder what happened.
I believe the skill was conviction or whatever, but I just didn't have the conviction to blow her head off.
I wonder what would happen. I don't think.
I don't know.
I'll be honest. She kind of deserves it.
I hope it's a thing in the game where you can murder this child. Like, not because I like murdering children, but because this game writes it into a very believable situation in which a fucked up cop would snap and shoot this girl in the head. It was a very believable situation for me, and if I would have actually done it, I would have been like, I can't believe I fucking did that, but I totally believe that just happened.
Yeah, I think I want to try to cheese that roll and see what happens. I'm very curious. That's what I mean. Like, there's so many little branches that this game gives you, and like you said, it doesn't hold your hand at all. It says, go check out the dumpster. There's clothes in there. And then you get there, it's locked. So then you figure out how to open the dumpster. Then you get the dumpster open. Then you inspect the body and you take notes and then get the body down. And if you whiff your shots, you got to go talk to somebody to help you get the body down, because you're not going to take a third shot.
And apparently nobody around you has a ladder. I don't
know how they got it up there. I'm not sure, but it got up there. I think they used a crane, actually. They said something like, because of the strap, which is part of the investigation.
The reason it's still hung up there is because it's a cargo strap, and it's reinforced steel, and it's a very, very tough, high yield strap. So who has access to that? Probably the guys down at the dock with cargo straps. So that gives you a clue at least to maybe who done it. If you don't already pry the information from the locals around you. If you do, you will learn that
Kuno wasn't giving you anything.
No, Kuno is the kid. Kuno and Kuno S, who is his girlfriend. Both of them are orphans, sort of. Like, Kuno has a dad, but his dad is constantly in like a coma because he hates himself and just drinks himself and abuses himself and also neglects his kid. So he isn't really in the picture. So Kuno just kind of gets to do whatever the hell Kuno wants to do. And his girlfriend just kind of follows him around. So the only information you really get from them is that Kuno is the one that got rid of the helmet. Kuno was the first one to like really loot him. He got the helmet off, didn't fit him, so he kicked it into the ocean. What a twat.
Smart. Yep.
At first I hated Kuno, but the more I talk to him, I'm like, I kind of get this kid. He's kind of cool. He's a prick, 100%. Yeah, I fucking would kick this kid in the nuts if I had to, or if I wanted to. I'd just do it right now for fun. But he's also kind of cool, so I'm not gonna give him too much hassle after that. I'm not gonna snitch on him, whatever. I'm just
right.
He tries to finesse you, and he's like, "Hey, I got some cool sweatpants. You want them?" It's like, maybe. He's like, 500 real. It's like, where the hell am I gonna get $500? I don't even have $50 to pay for my room tonight. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So it becomes an objective of yours, an optional one, of course, to buy the sweatpants from Kuno for 500 real. And it's like, okay, I guess that's like an end game goal. Like, maybe I'll just get a lot of money somehow, and I'll come back and buy these pants from him. Maybe if I buy the pants from him, I'll get some info from him or something. So I really like that Kuno has several side quests. He has the quest with his dad. He has the quest with his girlfriend. He has the quest with his clubhouse. He has a bunch of stuff going on, even though he really doesn't have anything to do with anything going on. Like, you can completely ignore Kuno for almost the entire game, and it won't really affect the murder investigation, other than learning what happened to the helmet and what information he saw. But he didn't really see anything.
Right. He was at the clubhouse while that was taking place. It speaks to the character development. Like, these guys are all fleshed out very well. Like, even if it wasn't voice acted, like you said, the language that they use tells you what kind of little shit this kid is, you know, like he's just a street urchin basically, and hangs out with his girlfriend in his clubhouse all day while his dad gets trashed. And yeah, he's trying to make some money on some sweatpants, which 500's a little steep.
Way steep.
You can finesse him.
And like, to put a reference on how much 500 is, you can buy almost anything else in the game for under 60. Like, there's not many purchasable. Like, I think the most expensive like clothes item is like 120 or something. There's not a whole lot in the game that costs even 200. There's like 500 is so much money to ask for those pants.
Yeah, exactly. A pack of cigarettes was $3.41 at the store. And what else was? Oh, like the most expensive thing that I saw that was just an item was this board game, and it was like $25.
Yeah, 25.
It's just like that. I don't even know what it's for.
Did you end up buying that game?
Buy it. I did not yet. No.
Okay, so
I'm sure. Does it lead you somewhere? What happens with it?
The only thing you get from it is there's two games. There's the one game and then the other game. The one game is like Dungeons and Dragons, and you can end up playing it with Kim and have like a mini adventure and stuff like that. And the other one's like Settlers of Catan. So
okay.
If you play that one, you get the figurine. You get like, I think 1 or 2 figurines from it, which will maybe become relevant later, or you can sell them. And you get a dice, I believe, from both of the games. And those dice, along with another dice that you can get in the game, will just enhance random rolls throughout the game. I don't know which ones are do what, but sometimes you'll just have like, why do I have a +1 on that? And it'll be like, oh, this is because of that 20-sided die you have. It's like, okay, I don't know why having a 20-sided die helps me in this dialogue, but it magically does. So that's what you can get, like a soft buff for some things later. So if you have the extra money, it's pretty cool to buy the extra stuff. Most of the game I did have extra money because the other defining characteristic of my character, besides opening doors, was I asked every motherfucker, can I have some money? Hey, can I have some money? Hey, yo, can I have some money? Hey, man, can I get some money? It's like, you're a cop. It's like, yeah, no, can I get some money? It's like, is this for your investigation? No, it's for me. Can I get some money, please? My character ended up becoming like ultra rich. I think I got a stock bond thing that was worth like 413,000 real, and holding in my account, I was holding like a couple hundred, just because the only way to really make money besides begging is to pick up trash and then sell it at the store.
Collecting bottles, yes.
Yeah, collecting trash. Well, once you upgrade, I think there's an upgrade to that skill that you can get like other stuff that you can recycle with it. But regardless, that's the only really way to make money, is to pick up trash and then sell it. So it's pretty shitty. So most of the game I was a straight beggar. I just asked everybody I could, can I get some money from you, please? And surprisingly, a lot of people were just like, yeah, I guess. Sure. I don't have a reason to say no, so here you go.
I have been broke this whole game for the most part. I think I got $75.
I'm going to tell you, Kim does not like that behavior of mine. He does not like the fact that I'm just trying to grift everyone in town.
And that's what, it's, especially Joyce at the boat. Like, she'll give you a fair amount from what I remember.
Yeah, you can ask her for like 1,000. She's like, even if I had that money on me, which nobody would carry that money on them, that would be idiotic. No, that's too much to ask for. Go ahead and try again. Like, can I get 60 real? And she's like, yeah, here you go. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Right. And money is important. It's not just something you collect. You have to buy things. You have to pay your rent if you want to continue to rent a room.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to go find some cardboard somewhere to sleep on. Otherwise, there's only other one location in the game that you can. Yeah, say there's the shack is the only other location in the game besides the cardboard. But you have to unlock the shack, sort of. You have to get inside of it. You can't just walk in there. You have to get the right to use it. Otherwise, if you don't pay your rent, you just gotta sleep outside. Oops, sorry.
There's a couple benches. Yeah, you get to crash on a bench, and it rains a lot in Martinez.
Yeah, so I tried really hard to make sure I would like a room. Thank you. Even if it's trashed, I would like to. I'll sleep on the floor. It's fine, but at least it has a ceiling.
And that's another one of your mini goals. You have to have money in your pocket so you can function while investigating this murder.
Speaking of which, where from this did you start going? Like, what was your driving? What was your, like, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? What things am I trying to solve?
So while I was waiting to get the body down, I talked to the bookstore lady, and that's where I saw the games, and there was a map you can get. That's where you can buy the map or steal it if you're clever enough. And other books like that, just they help build your character. It's weird. Like you can pick. I want to say parrots, but it wasn't parrots. It was a type of bird. Like you get to pick which type of bird relates to you, and it gives you a bonus later on. And you talk to her, and she says that the commercial area is doomed. And so she tells you a story about how the business before her closed down, and all the other businesses have closed down, and Whirling and Rags is next to close down. So you get a side quest to investigate the doomed commercial area, which is essentially
if you look, since we don't have a visual, here let me actually I'll see if I can pull one up. So what other businesses are inside of the doomed commercial area?
As you're walking around, there was a intercom, and you can try to ring all the different businesses. The Whirling and Rags is, like we said, that's the place to be. Then there's a bookstore just to the west of it. And if you go east, there is a corner store where you can buy booze and cigarettes and other things. You talk to some truckers on your way over to the corner store, and you find out they don't like Kim because he's Asian. He's not Martinez born, I guess.
There we go. So here's the visual. Oh no, I forgot how to pull it up correctly. Let's see. Click, and then I go to see full-sized image. There we go.
There you go.
So right here, this is the Whirling and Rags. You can see the front door is here, even though it's actually kind of like right here in the actual game. Right around the corner here, this is where the murder is. And then this tall building right here is the doomed commercial area. So there's a bunch of buildings inside of this building. And this front building here, let me zoom all the way in. This very front of the shop, that's the bookstore, where it's got that kind of like zigzag into it. And then the intercom, as you mentioned, is right here around the corner. So all of these this like apartment-sized building is a bunch of businesses that are essentially all out of business now, except for the bookstore.
Right.
Or so people thought. There's actually another business inside of there that's still running, and it's a kind of lone lady who lives in the building who just makes dice for people. She's just a dice maker. Doesn't make a lot of income, but she also doesn't spend a lot of money because all she really does is eat and sleep. So she's very low income as it is, and so she requires low income. And if you stumble upon her while investigating the doomed commercial area, turns out that she might be the ghost, because I guess, the lady thinks that somebody's living in there and wandering around and making noise and stuff, and, well, she's there, so put one and one together, and she thinks she's the ghost. And, well, I guess you can chalk that up to, yeah, makes sense. Or, knowing that there's probably supernatural existence, you can investigate a little bit further.
and figure out what's really going on here. While you're here, though, you can buy some dice from her. Did you end up doing that?
I did not. Because I was being stingy with my money.
Yeah, she doesn't require a lot of money for it, but she asks you what kind of dice you want to make, and you only get one choice. So I was like, one of them is like, oh, it's a cursed dice. Well, I mean, if it's actually cursed, cool. Maybe it'll do something bad or interesting or have some cool interaction in the game. If it's not cursed, then whatever. I guess she just named it cursed because she's in the cursed, doomed commercial area. Whatever. Either way, that's the dice I picked, and I think twice in the game it came up as a +1 to a roll. One time was in the church, I think, investigating that void thing, and then another time I think was when I was like talking to my lizard brain.
Okay. And there's other things, like if you learn about something, it helps you pass checks. So it does pay to go through the dialogue because you will get bits and pieces of information. And one of them, we mentioned the pale earlier, which is kind of the ethereal thing that there's another woman who's doing an experiment. And you talk to her about it, and she talks to you about the pale, and that gave me a -10 somewhere else. I can't remember what it was, but it just -10 in big red because I knew about the pale.
Yeah, that you learn about it here, and then later on there's another lady doing an experiment, and if you try to run that experiment, because it's like it's which philosophy, I guess, HPD learned and leaned into. Does he believe in like science-ialism, or does he believe in this like the pale-ism, like the super paranaturalism? And if you learn and lean into and know about the pale, then your character is like, well, because of the pale, this science experiment probably won't work because whatever. Like you get that -10 because you know about that, and it's like, it was one of the only checks in the game that I just couldn't. I even tried brute forcing it a few times on stream. I was like, and I was like, okay, well, this -10 is just too brutal. Like I even with all my gear, even by smoking, I'm not getting past that -10.
Only if you roll a 12. That's it, and that could take a long time.
Yeah, because statistically, on the little readout, it says it's like 3%. That's a 3% chance to roll a double 6.
That's the lowest one I've seen, and exactly the opposite and contrary, like a 97%. I've never seen a 100% one, but 97 is the highest working for you. Like
I imagine
you're almost not going to fail.
I imagine that's mathematically correct. I imagine the game developers just asked like, or just did the math and figured out like, what is the probability of a dice roll for this? What is the probability of a dice roll for this? Otherwise, it could just be the game just being funny with 3. I don't know. Who knows?
You got a 3% chance to roll double 6s, and a 3% chance to roll snake eyes to fail.
Yeah, no matter what, you always have those 3% on both sides. So even if you have have like a stat bonus of plus 35 or whatever, you still have a 3% chance to roll the double 1. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's an automatic fail.
I really like that mechanic because it puts pressure on it. Because you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make this no problem. There's a 97% chance, and then you'll whiff it, and you'll be like, that hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Or the other way around. Like, I know there's been times that I've passed checks and didn't save it and kept playing, and then didn't make the right choices I wanted to make, and I was like, I'm not going all the way back, an hour's worth of gameplay just to fix one choice. This game really made me live with all the mistakes I did.
Yeah, red checks. I kind of like made a soft agreement to myself. I was like, I'm gonna own, except for like 1 or 2 that I felt like were really important. They were like, okay, if I fail a red check, I fail it. If I have to go back for something else, I guess I can do the red check again, like it's cheesing a little bit, but I'm not going to just like re-roll red checks over and over. White checks, fine, because a lot of time I'm not just going to exit the dialogue, level up a skill, and then come and do it again. Even though I did that a couple of times, and I felt like that was like the legit way to redo it instead of just save scumming,
Right.
which is what it's called. But after a while,
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna save scum. I don't care. I'm not gonna let the dice rolls ruin my enjoyment of this game and be like, oh man, I felt like I missed out because I didn't get to meet the cryptid because I didn't roll a high enough number.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say to you, because I there's things that you already did that I didn't, and that was one of, like, buying dice or spending a lot of money. I didn't get a chance to do too much of that. And there was other choices you made that were different from my experience as well, and they're not insignificant. You know, there's like, I really feel like this game has high replay value, even though there are like set events.
Yeah, for example,
certain...
like a couple of days into it, there's going to be a standoff outside of the Whirling in Rags. It's going to meet an escalation between two groups, and then there's going to be like a showdown outside of the Whirling in Rags. No matter what you do in the game, that event is going to happen, and what you do before that event can drastically change what's going to happen in it, especially your skills. But like that's a fixed event. The union going on strike, that's a fixed event. There's some things that no matter what you do, it's just going to happen the way it happens. But during all of those fixed events, everything from what I've seen can be completely different, because if you don't, like, for example, some characters just won't interact with you if you don't ascribe to their moral beliefs, and you can just be like,
Right.
okay, well, now I can either sell out or whatever and choose to go however they want me to, or I can spend time to try to figure out how to get around this person. So
that's what...
I feel like if you wanted to do in your other playthrough, you can just be like, okay, well, I know one way around this guy. I can either find another way, or I can just be like, okay, well, let's see what this guy has to offer me.
And that kind of leads into where you head next. You find out that it was a group of people who hung the man in the tree, and it was dock workers, and most of them are on strike right now. So you go talk to the main guy that's leading the strike rally is wearing clothes that are too small for him. And he's just acting weird, and you talk to another guy who's just watching it. He's sitting there just drinking out of his flask. And then you want to go talk to the head honcho of the docks to find out why one of his straps was there. And you can't get into his office until you deal with this guy. I'm blanking on his name, but he does not like you.
Measurehead.
That's right, Measurehead. He believes in eugenics 100%. Like,
yeah,
breed humans into the perfect specimens and get rid of all the chaff. Just like
and
the
if we don't, then we need to at least separate them into categories, and here are the categories, and this is why these are the categories. He's like an encyclopedia of his beliefs, and he is ready to convert anyone.
Yeah, and that's like you were saying, if you don't you got a couple ways you can handle him. You can lean into what he thinks, and you can try to fight him, even though he is far physically superior to you and your old man disheveled body. Or you could try and talk your way past him, like, and make him at least be nice to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the ones where I re-rolled a bunch of times. I saved scum a bunch of times because I threw a punch, and I wanted to see the punch land, and it did.
Me too.
So you hit him with a punch, and then you kick him, and the kick is what ends it, and then you go push the button and walk.
Yeah, because you kick him like right in the throat,
like
and he has to like recover because you fortunately don't break his windpipe, but you kick him in the throat, and he's like, he's like, holy fuck! I did not expect to get critical right in the neck. Okay, wow. You're not going to do that again, but right. I see you, little man.
Exactly. He was like, all right, you got one on me. I'll let it go, you know. And that was the only interaction I really had with him, because then I went and talked to Big Boss Man, whose name is Everett. And like you said, there are certain things that happen, and if you get to a certain point without re-talking to people, when you get to that showdown, yeah, you can have really set yourself up for a poor interaction, depending on what goes on.
A super critical part to the interaction is whether or not HBD has a gun. As we mentioned, you were a terrible, horrible cop and you have none of your stuff. So, somewhere in Martinez is your gun. You can investigate pretty early and try to figure out where your gun is, and you can get some leads on it, but none of them really come up conclusive. Until you come across Everett, and he says, "Oh, hey." And he starts calling you by the name Harry. He says, "Harry, we actually found your gun." We're like, well, what do you mean? Okay, assuming my name's Harry, play it cool. Well, I knew that. I knew it the whole time. My name is Harry. Okay, that explains the H. Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Now what's DB? We'll figure that out. No worries. Okay. What? And he says, "Oh yeah, so some crazy lady has your gun, and we'll set up a meeting for you. But just to make sure that it goes smoothly, and my messenger reaches her effectively, and we can set up the meeting. I gotta know I can trust you." And he's like, "What?
Right.
What? You the player, like, wait, what do you mean?" So, he wants you to do a really simple job. He says, "Okay, so here's this key. I just need you to go unlock a door. You don't even have to go in. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just go unlock the door, and then come back to me and give me back the key." And you're like, okay. You can choose to do this mission, or you can choose to not do this mission, because now you're essentially being blackmailed and now straight up manipulated by Everett, because he's like, "You want your gun? Fucking do this shit for me, because I know where your gun is, and you're not getting it back otherwise."
And he's very like that. He's slimy about it. He's not direct at all. He's definitely trying to double talk you a lot, and he knows you're in a pinch. I didn't first learn my gun was missing from him. I first learned from the pawn shop. He's like, "Yeah, you pawned it a couple days ago." I was like, "I did?"
What, me?
And he's
me?
well, it's not here
me
now.
gun? Pawn?
Yeah.
Me gun? Mine? Me? Oh, that does sound like me. Fuck. Yeah, so that's where I first learned it too. I learned that I pawned it, but he didn't really give me information on who it was pawned to, except for
No, and that's
except for I pawned it. So once Everett confirms that somebody has it, he wants you to do some dirty work for him, and he'll set up a meeting so you can get your gun. And
Yep.
Did you end up doing this door locking quest? Because I went to go do it. I was like, okay, fuck it. I want my gun. Fuck it. And I went to go unlock the door. And when I did, the person was already home. I missed my opportunity.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I missed my opportunity to do the job for him.
Oh, I definitely unlocked the door. It was empty. There was.
Oh, you went in the building?
Yes. Oh yeah,
Ooh.
I was gonna take whatever I could.
Okay, tell me more.
So you unlock the door, you can go in. Well, it's like a little apartment. Yeah, there's a bed in there, a collection of mugs, which I don't know if you found a certain yellow mug in the trash. It's very much, like old Americana blackface stuff. Like it's like really out of date racist references and stuff like that. So like this guy has a whole collection of those mugs.
I think the description of the yellow mug that you find is a racially insensitive depiction of a black guy frolicking in a field. I think that's the description.
One of them for sure.
I think, if you find the one that's in the trash, I believe that's the one that you carry around with you, trying to figure out whose mug is this. I believe the description. I would have to double check it, but I remember in my brain it's saying it's a description of a racially insensitive depiction of a black guy frolicking in a field. I think that's what it is. which
you
is,
can
I guess, a
question
pretty
other
funny
people
mug.
about it
I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
I guess a naked black guy on a mug would be funny.
And like you could question people about it. They'd be like, "So what do you think about this mug?" And like one of the truck drivers laughs at it. Kim doesn't like it. Everybody else is like, "Eh." But yeah, it's you know it belongs to the guy in the apartment, and then once you find him,
Wow, it's so amazing that, like, because I missed out on that, I had no clue that's the guy in the apartment. Okay, cool.
and yeah, you report back to Everett and you tell him, because there's a couple of people you want to talk to. There's another room goer upstairs on a balcony that had a good view of everything. And you want, right. And then he has a Sunday friend. And you talk to him and you try to find out stuff. Like this investigation takes you in a lot of different directions. And
which I
you
imagine
can get sidetracked.
I imagine it emulates real police work, but I obviously don't know. Because, yeah, you have to cross off leads, you have to double check, you have to cross-reference, you have to talk to people multiple times. Once you talk to somebody, you have to talk to them again because you're like, hey, you know, I know you said you were here at this time, but this guy actually places you at this location. So, like, either this guy's lying or you're lying. So, like, let's get together and figure this out. Like, there's a lot of that in the game that I really like. And you mentioned the smoker and the Sunday friend. I really like that because the first time you interact with him, he's like, I don't really want to talk to you. And he's like, okay, maybe, but meet me here after this time because I have work and I'll be back after this time. So you have to go back there pretty late and you have to make sure you do it because if you do it too late and, you know, Kim might want to go to bed and then if you drop him off, then you have to go do it alone. So there's time management is really cool because there's certain events that only happen at certain times. One of the early time sensitive events is there is a sort of like canal bridge thing that is currently open instead of closed, meaning you can't cross it. And the switchboard is being repaired and it won't be ready till Wednesday. So Monday and Tuesday, you can't do anything. You can't, well, on that side of the area, you can't cross the canal because it's closed. So you have to wait until it gets repaired, and then boop, now it's all good. The door, the canal is closed, so you can cross across the little door thing and get across to the coastline and explore more martinets. If you miss that event, I don't know what happens, but I made sure. I was like, okay, Wednesday morning, I'm waiting. Okay, it's 9 a.m. Go press the button.
Yep, that was one of the first things I did because it does force you to stay in the little neighborhood that you first wake up in, but there's enough there for the 2 days that you can get a good feel for the game. But time only passes when you're in dialogue.
Yes, we didn't mention that at all, but that is a really interesting mechanic that they tell you right from the beginning, and then they don't hammer it in. You, the player, will get that hammered into your brain really fast when you're like, okay, I gotta wait till 2 o'clock. Holy fuck, it's 8 a.m. Okay, so what am I supposed to do for 6 hours? Shit. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to this guy. Okay, that took 12 minutes. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to that guy. Okay, that took 6 minutes. Fuck. Okay, where am I gonna kill all this time? I can't just go sleep during the day. So you have to, like, no, exactly. I ended up going to the bookstore like you did, and I just like, I guess I'm just gonna read some fucking books. Just passing time, reading a detective novel or whatever. Yeah, just shit like that. I like that the books you don't really read them. Like some of them you don't really read. It tells you about the book in kind of like an essay format, and then some of them are like, hey, so like what were one of the first books that I picked up was The First Innocents or whatever, and it's a book that when I was like perusing the shelves, it said like logic. I think it was rhetoric. I think maybe it was Inland Empire. That sounds right. Inland Empire says, I don't know why, but this book is important. And it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go get some money. So I came back with some money and I, which killed some time, came back, got the book, and I was like, okay, cool. So I opened the book and it said, all right, so here's a quiz about the book. It's like, what? I don't know about the book. So you get like multiple choices, and you can get them wrong, and the book will tell you that it was wrong, and it'll tell you the right answer. And then every time you do it, it'll pass time, but it's just constantly you doing a quiz about the book, learning who was the lost innocence, who was the first innocence, who was the whatever. So it's a good question. What are the innocences? The innocents are essentially like like the Pope, kind of. The Pope, he's kind of like a religious head. He isn't exactly like a prophet. He isn't exactly like he's very significant religiously, but he isn't God. So it's like a commune between the pinnacle of religion and humanity. So the innocences are like appointed at heads of government, and they are appointed at like social peaks, and they are appointed and rule over long periods of time in this universe, which is super cool. It's just like none of this is important to the story at all. Or is it?
No, but right.
So one of the characters that you learn about in this book is Dolores Day, which is, I don't know, like she's like the something innocent. She's an important character in the book. It's about Dolores Day, and that name sticks with your character, and it's like, okay, I wonder why. And it for my playthrough, it didn't become relevant until way later on, when I ended up making a fucking crazy phone call out of a payphone, like a really, really long distance phone call that was like 50 numbers long or whatever. And it wasn't until then that it became relevant that that name meant anything.
See, I didn't read that book, but I did find a phone number. And there's a phone that you can dial the number on, and you call her up, and it's an old lady on the other end. I had no idea who that lady was, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm a cop. And she's like, screw you, copper, and hangs up the phone on me. So, like, I didn't have any background to get further in that conversation with her like you did. So that's what I mean. Like this, I think this game changes a lot in tone and direction just based on little dialogue, things like that. There's a couple of predetermined things I know about, but how you get there, it can be a direct logical route, or it can be your tie yelling at you the whole time, and you can be drinking. You can really not be the most good cop there is. You can still be the same guy you almost died as, and just keep continuing to abuse drugs and drinking and
right, and never adapt, never grow. By the end of the game, I never finished the thought because it took so long, and I was already near the end of the game. But I got to the point where my character's like, I'm ready to give up drinking. You know, I'm ready to be sober. And so I had to like dedicate the time to the thought, and unfortunately I never got there. But you know, like my character reached an arc in his journey where he's like, maybe I don't need the sauce, you know, maybe I don't need it.
Right.
And Kim is very supportive of you, and your character is really trying, and you even bring it up to some people. It's like, hey man, I'm trying, you know, like I know I'm not who I could be or who I was, but I'm trying, you know?
Right. And you mentioned earlier, you have this kind of plastered smile, like it's stuck on your face. You got a big bushy beard, and you can change those things if you roll right. You know, you can shave, you can clean yourself up, and really try to give Harry an arc of finding out who he is and change. Like he wakes up a different person every time you play. Well, if you make different choices.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's I was thinking like visually, this game is like a mountain. Like you start at the very bottom, and there's like a 360 way to approach getting towards the top. There's only one pinnacle, and once you reach the pinnacle, it's solving the murder and figuring out like, okay, am I going to go back work with my job, or am I getting fired? That's like the very, no matter what happens in the game, that's the end of the game. You solve the murder, and You get fired or you don't get fired. There's a lot of other things that happen around that, but that's like the binary ending of the game. Did you solve it correctly, and are you getting fired?
Right. Right. Or what did you miss while solving it? Because, you could have had this and it would have been better. The first night ends with Kim smoking a cigarette with you. And he will say, oh, you didn't get this and this done today, but we got time yet. You can miss a lot of interaction if you do things. If you stay dogged and just investigate the murder, there are a lot of other just stuff that's going on around the entire little area of Revachol.
A big thing is the fight between the union and the company. There's a company representative.
That was like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a crescendo there, because the guy who got murdered is a mercenary, and
he works for the company.
There are that the dock workers are striking against. So basically, what the company was doing was bringing in people to bust some heads to get people to go back to work, and some of those people that they were going to bust heads may have killed one of the mercenaries, and so now the rest of the mercenary group is on a tear. They're coming to take care of the rest of the dock workers, and you try to convince them that they'll overpower you. They got armor, they got guns, they're going to just wipe you out, and you work towards that. It's like a little crescendo there, and it went very poorly for me.
Yeah,
I hadn't found my gun.
When I got to this point, I was like very ready for it, but me the player was ready, but me the person was not ready for the fucking slaughter that was about to happen.
I was not ready on any level.
I had my character like head to toe in the armor. I had bullets in my gun. I had all my stats ready. I had full morale, full health. I had drugs in my system. I was amped up. I was ready. And then I walked into the fight, and then me, the player, was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh, I missed that roll. Oh, fuck, I missed that roll. Oh, fuck, people are about to die. Oh, no, oh, no.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this is all gonna be my fault because I fucking can't roll a dice. Oh, my God, I'm gonna fucking kill people right now. Oh, my God, please. And then,
it gets
and then
very
people start
stressful
opening fire, and then people start getting hit with bullets, and I'm like, I'm backing out of this. I'm gonna play this tomorrow. And then I came back to it, and I was like more mentally ready for it because like I couldn't be any more in-game ready. So I was like, okay, I'm mentally ready for this now. I have 3 checks that I know I have to beat, and I have the stats for it. Like I changed my gear a little bit. I tweaked it because now I have a little bit of foreknowledge, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I know that this is gonna happen, and I have to hit this roll. And if I don't hit this roll, then I have to hit this roll. And I'm like, okay, I think I know the good way to end this thing. And as I'm hitting these rolls, things are still getting worse. And I'm like, why is this happening? And then people, like I said, people start getting shot again. I'm like, is there no good ending to this? Oh no. Oh no. I'm
good.
like I'm making all the right rolls. I'm making all the right rolls, and things are still happening.
Because that's happened to me too. I know I re-rolled a couple things, and it still didn't go the way I wanted it. You just get the experience points for hitting the roll. And the showdown in the square in front of the Whirling in Rags is I didn't have my gun, so it went awful for me. I couldn't pull a gun on him. I didn't have my armor on. I'm just trying to diffuse the situation. So that's all. Verbal.
So you don't have the combat option.
Nobody needs to die here.
Gotcha. At least I had the option for combat. You did not.
No.
Okay.
I think I could have made Kim pull his gun, but that was
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And he did eventually.
He at least had 1 or 2 bullets. So. Actually, we don't know how many bullets.
But yeah,
it
might ends in a bloodbath. It's a good question. I don't know. I think the only time he shot his gun was at the strap to get the man down, and that missed.
Right, exactly. I don't know how many bullets he has. Maybe I'm assuming for the purpose of the game, he probably has unlimited bullets.
So what happened at the end of that for you? Who got shot? because okay, well, for forewarn, this is a spoiler section. If you have not played,
Yeah, we've been like
'Cause I wanna
tiptoeing
find out what
around
happened
major
here.
spoilers while talking about the game, like philosophically and stuff. But yeah, this point is definitely going to be spoilers because this is it's not the end of the game, but it is the first major climax. There is like the game literally can end right here if you don't like just go back and do it again. If you die here, it's over. You know, like same with any other role in
in
the
a
game. I
few
guess
other
if you
places,
get killed,
yeah.
it's a game over. But
well,
so,
like you said, Measurehead can kill you, and there's a couple other people that'll pull a gun and shoot you and Kim if you're not careful. But in my playthrough, it didn't go well, so I wanted to find out who wound up shot with you first, and then I'll tell you.
So
or agree with you.
In the
it's
actual like in the one that I like, we'll ignore all the save scumming and re-rolling. So the final what happened. So I come across it and I pull my gun and I'm armored, so I'm ready to take a bullet if I need to, and I'm trying to defuse the situation. The first person to fire is the big guy. There's three mercenaries. There's a sniper, a beefy guy, and then like a short lady. So the sniper isn't really doing anything. He's just kind of leaning against the wall. He's ready for the action, but he's not poised yet. The big leader guy, he's got his pistol ready, and then the other girl's got it at her hip, but she's ready to quick draw. So two of the people are ready, and the other guy's ready, but he doesn't look ready. So all three of them they're just waiting for the signal to shoot. The big guy ends up just shooting like kind of a warning scare shot into the air. He's the first one to actually shoot a bullet, which puts everybody on fucking edge because there's actually been a shot fired now.
Right.
So he, the Union strikers. Well, no, these aren't they are, but these more specifically, the people that are in this showdown are the three mercenaries and the Hardy Boys, which are the Union workers that are inside the Whirling in Rags that we mentioned at the beginning of the game. You can either talk to them or walk past them, but they play a major role in all of this. Titus is the leader, and he's got a bunch of boys who are all quirky and different, and he's got Angus. They've got weaknesses and strengths, but they're all friends, and they're all ready to fight and die for each other, except for the coward. He's ready to run, but he hasn't run yet. So depending on what you roll, the coward can either leave or not leave, which I think is a really interesting turnout of the event. I don't know what rolls trigger him leaving, but one of the times I was save scumming, he did leave, and the other times he didn't. So I don't know what I did.
Yeah, he ran away from mine.
Yeah, so during my final showdown, he stayed. He fought with the guys, and the first person to shoot was me. Once I got to the roll, I ended up aiming my gun at the big guy in the middle, and I pulled the trigger and I shot him in the face.
Oh wow.
Wow. I ended up killing the big guy by shooting him in the face. The sniper gets ready and he shoots because he was already ready. He shoots and he hits me because I didn't hit the reaction time dodge. You get a reaction time check for that, and you can dodge the bullet. I did not dodge the bullet, but because I was armored, hit me in the chest and did health damage, but did not one-shot me. I assume if you did not have the armor on, that'll one-shot you. I assume because it's a sniper.
We'll talk about it in a second.
After he hits me in the plate, Kim pulls out his pistol, and Kim shoots the sniper right in the eyes. He shoots him right in his little eye gap. After that, my character blacks out.
Okay. For me, the guy ran away. He was like, "This, I'm out of here," because like there was shots fired, and he's like, "I'm not sticking around for that." And the big guy in the middle who's running the show, and there's the sniper on the side. They're dialoguing back and forth, and because they're upset with the Hardy Boys, they killed our boy. We're out for revenge. Blah blah blah. And somebody shoots in the air, and then everybody's on edge. Even the sniper had his gun drawn from me, and then somebody shoots at the big guy. I don't know if he got killed or not. I can't remember. But then the sniper shoots me.
Somebody, one of the union workers?
And yes.
Oh.
It went bad for me.
Do you have any idea which one of the Hardy Boys had a gun?
I am not sure, but 4 of them end up dead.
I think Angus dies no matter what. And I think the coward dies if he stays. So you can get, I think, more than that if he stays. And then I don't know. I think the slightly gay dies. The slightly gay guy dies. I think the black guy dies. And no, I don't know what. There's so many of the. I think there's 8 Hardy Boys, so it's hard to keep track of. But yeah, 4 or 5 of them die. The most important
one is Titus. Yeah, Titus got shot and he was killed. And
Titus died for you?
The sniper shot me. Yes.
Oh wow! Titus did not die
in the
for
shoulder. I got shot in the shoulder at the same time Kim shot the sniper. So the sniper's definitely dead. And then I'm Kim's literally like, stay with me, dude. And I'm like, my old lady, like you start talking about your girlfriend again.
Right.
And then I blacked out and wound up in the room. And that's kind of where I stopped. I'm at a point where a bunch of stuff just happened and it really upset my investigation. Like, I don't even know where to start now. 4 of the Hardy Boys are dead.
Is Kim okay?
It's Hardie completely. Kim is okay.
Okay.
I think he was shot, but
he was shot. Okay. Before I was blacking out,
I took one and he took one.
Before I was blacking out, because I had, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe at this point I had gotten the achievement for Kim Maximum Trust. And so there is a check before you black out to tell Kim behind you. And if you roll that check, if you roll the check behind you, Kim will react to the small lady who had her pistol ready but hadn't shot yet. She was coming up to blow Kim away, and before Harry blacks out, he warns Kim behind you if you roll that check. And if Kim trusts you, you get the so much bonus to it that he's just like, I got you, and blows her away.
Right. Makes sense. I forgot about that. That's right, because that was the last thing I clicked. I was like, I do.
Yeah, so I think if you miss that check, he does get shot. So if you, which really sucks, because like, no matter what happens in this situation, I'm okay with it as long as Kim doesn't get hurt. I will re-roll this as many times as it takes to fucking Kim to not, because if Kim dies here, I'm over this game, man.
I know there's that's why it took me so long to get through. There was just some parts where I would hit a wall, but not necessarily in a bad way, like in a way that I'm like, what am I doing? Because I had 700 side quests going. You can do that because the game doesn't hold your hand, and the more you run around and talk to people, the more they ask for your help. And sometimes it's just ridiculous shit, you know. The old lady, you mentioned her earlier, she's in the Whirling in Rags. Her husband is a cryptid hunter, and they have been looking for some interdimensional plasmid thing.
Yeah, but what it really is essentially like a big stick bug, but it's made out of like sea reeds, not weeds, those reeds that grow right on the edge of like water, and cattails and like those things that look like wheat, but they're not. It's like a stick bug, but it's made out of like reeds.
Yeah, that's what those cattails are. They got like that big brown thing on the top, and it looks like I know what you're talking about. So it's like I was running around checking these traps for an hour and a half, you know, like, and then all the stuff in the church. You help out some ravers in the church. That one dude's dancing his little heart out. I like that guy.
That is my favorite side quest in the game. The church stuff is my favorite. I fucking love Egghead. He is probably my favorite character in the game.
Hardcore.
Egghead rocks. He's you meet some people that are camped outside this church because they're like, dude, that would be like the perfect rave house, but there's like some fucking weird shit going on in there and some crazy lady in there. So like we can't. So if you decide to take it upon yourself, you can broker a deal and get them to kind of work together, and they get to set up their nightclub with or without a drug pin. They are making speed, and they have the option to sell and have a speed ring out of the church as well. Unfortunately, because I was trying to clean up my act and impress Kim, I was like, "Hey, sorry, man, no drugs in the church. I'm not going to tell you don't do drugs, but I cannot let you run a drug ring out of the church, okay? I am a cop. I can't let you do that. But you guys can run a nightclub.
Yeah, pretty sure
that
I went
sounds
the
cool.
same route. Hey.
Nightclub, I'm helping.
And they're
I'm
cool.
helping with the nightclub.
Yeah, that's right. That's and there's like a weird entity that lives in the church.
They call the
It's a
crab
guy,
man.
but
Yeah.
but he stays up in the rafters. He doesn't come down.
Yeah, he's like,
So, yeah,
he's
there's
like
like
some
little-
Hispanic
little-
guy who just like ended up finding this silent void terror, and he's like, oh, wow, that's my god. And then he just like lives up close to it to experience nothingness.
How weird, right? That's what I mean. And you when you're talking with those raver guys, you can like, be more a part of their ideology. Like you could respond to them. Like Egghead, he's hardcore all over the place, and
There's a quest that you get to
Like,
like decipher Egghead, to like understand him, and I was like, this isn't a dice check. It's like literally a dialogue puzzle. Like you have to say hardcore in the right thing, and then whenever he says something, you have to respond correct. So I'm just like 1 3 3 1 1 3 3 1 3 3 1 2
Right.
1 2 3 3. Okay, oh cool.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. And now we're like, yeah, we're eggheading together.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Egghead
you could become
is so
bros
cool.
with them.
Yeah. And
And,
you help these ravers move into the church, and they are super fans of this like defunct musician who allegedly grew up and lived nearby here. So they are trying to collect his masterpiece and like reinvigorate it, and then make a nightclub kind of in his honor. So you can do that quest as well and upgrade their music to like the ultimate music, which I played. We missed out on this stream on What's This Game channel, but if you check it out on the re-upload over on my channel, we will the beginning I play that song. On the album it's called like something it's whatever one of those weird things that Egghead says, like infinite light, purest sound, or something like that. It's a really cool track. It's just like a kind of like a house trap song for a little bit, and it's not like an incredible song, but like as opposed to every other song in the game, which is like orchestral and it's like got piano and strings and stuff.
Right.
It's just like a dance track, and then your character ends up loving it, and you can, after you max out the track, you can get everybody in the church to be like, let's fucking party. And it's my favorite scene in the game where you get everyone dancing, and you point to Kim and you're like, Kim, dance. And he's like, I'm not doing this. And there's a dialogue option for me. There's a dialogue option for me that says, all right, Kim, this is the one time and the one time only I'm pulling rank on you. This is a fucking direct order from your superior. Get on the fucking dance floor and shred this shit. So you literally pull rank on Kim.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. So he comes over and he dances with you, and Anton's dancing and Egghead's dancing. The girls aren't dancing because they're like doing their science shit. And the other guy over there is like, he's barely dancing. And assuming if Crabman can hear any of this music, he's probably enjoying it too. But you just like, there's a final check in that where like it's like a near impossible roll, but if you hit it, your character like blacks out and then just becomes like one with the dance, and then you're just like,
nice.
It's my favorite scene in the game because it's like, this has nothing to do with this game. This is the game.
No, that's the name of the game.
Right,
that is
exactly. This has nothing to do with the game that it's set up. This is the game. This is the reason that I'm playing this game, is to experience a moment like this that I would never experience in another game or in real life or any media. Like, if I watched that on a show, I'd be like, wow, this feels like CW. This is stupid.
No, but it's like you said, when you're building that experience by making the choices, um, it's neat, and you feel like you accomplished something. Like there was a good reward with that. Like everybody came together to do a scene. Um,
And it's
there's
a culmination of
another
several
side
quest lines and everything. Yeah, so it feels like a reward in itself
Right.
because you get this really cool scene after doing all these dice checks and stuff like that. It's a reward in of itself just to see it.
One of the ones that was really sad was there was speaking of the bookstore, there was a lady at the bookstore and her husband had went missing. And of course I'm talking to her and I'll say, yeah, I'll look for him. And then Kim's like, do we got time for this? I'm like, sure we do. We got plenty of time. So now I'm investigating a second murder or what had happened. And so, you go to the boardwalk, you find out, you hit his head, and then you got to go back and break the news. It's like when the doctor has to come out of the operating room, like, he didn't make it. It was pretty much like that, like he didn't make it, and she's like, oh, okay. Same with the cryptid side quest. You can just get lost, and that takes time. Like it's a good one to get you around the island too, or
The coastline area.
out further away. Right. There you go. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. I tried to ask a girl on a date. She was the net girl with the boat. There's a debuff because Kim's there.
Yeah, right.
It's like a -1 because your
come on,
boy's standing there. I'm like, come on, man.
Wingman me. Come on, give me a +1. Where you at,
Yeah,
Kim?
exactly what I said. Yeah, it's like, come on now. He's my wingman. He's going to help me talk myself up.
What am I supposed to come out here at like 9 p.m. and say, hey, you want to get lunch tomorrow? I was like, what? Come on, what?
Right. No, and see, that's the thing. I think I went back without Kim, and it was still like very close in percentage. It didn't go up or down very much from that one point. And there's other kids you talk to who are apparently getting sound beamed into their head. What other side quests were there? There was something upstairs in the doomed commercial district. Like I unplugged the ice cream machine. I forget why I did that.
So
there's like a refrigerator and an ice cream machine.
The reason
and I remember opening the ice cream.
The reason you did that is in that doomed commercial district, one of the businesses was the developer of a over the radio sort of D&D game where it's going to be like live broadcast but interactive, but like like hard to, it's like kind of like an ARG,
I think it's
but over
like
the
this.
airwaves. That's what it was kind of going to be like, an alternate reality game, but over the airwaves that you can interact with and play along with if you knew how to call into the repeater stations and stuff like that. It was a very advanced kind of game for its time, and because it was too advanced, it kind of just kept seeping funding and ended up going defunct. In that building, there is a machine that has like essentially a hard drive that needs to be stored at low temperatures. So that's what was in the freezer machine, is one of the hard drives to the computer. So if you go and manage to get the freezer open, you can get the hard drive and go plug it into the computer.
Put that back into the machine. I remember doing that now. And that was when I meant to come back and re-roll because it was kind of hard at the time.
Yeah, because it also has a -10 because you don't have a... You have a -10 to it because you don't have a strong enough crowbar. You have the crowbar that you can get from Kim's car, but you need to get like an advanced crowbar, which you get way later. I don't exactly remember where you get it, but you get it from you get it from somebody, and they give you like a turbo crowbar, and then you can go over there and bust that thing open pretty easily. We are approaching the end of where we have to go for this episode. So I do want to ask you, where in the game did you end up like leaving off? Because you say you didn't beat it, so that means we'll probably have to come back and do the second episode for this.
Well, that was it right there. I hit that first crescendo.
So you're in the morning after the gunfight?
Apartment. Yes, and
cool.
I barely lived. I think I was out for a day. I'm on day 7 now. That happened on day 5, maybe. I might have missed the entirety of day 6. I'm not sure. Because I got shot. And I want to say I got shot twice, but I'm not 100% sure. It was a blur.
Right.
And a lot of stuff happened, and I was very upset because a bunch of the Hardy Boys died. And I felt like I should have been able to stop that. But after hearing, that's why I wanted to hear what happened to you. You went in full armor, loaded dice, ready to roll, and it still doesn't turn out very great for everybody. So
Yeah, I had near perfect rolls and still bad stuff happened. So I think the reason Titus dies, the leader of the Hardy Boys, is because you did not have your gun and you did not get the option to blow the leader away. Because the leader doesn't have a helmet on, so I'm able to get a headshot on him, and I knocked him out of the fight immediately. I think it says I hit him right between the eyes, or I hit him like definitely in the face, and he's out. So immediately he doesn't even have the option to shoot any of the Hardy Boys. So it I imagine drastically reduces the casualties.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I was, I saw the list of names. I was like, oh, I felt so bad. But it's what happened. It's what like I stopped trying to cheese all the stuff. I spent an hour the other day again trying to cheese the pinball machine. Stop that. What's wrong with me? I don't know.
It's something you want to do, and I get it, because it's like you only get one chance at it, and it's not like it's not an easy red check to re-roll either, because you can't quick save in the middle if it's in the middle of it's after like 30 clicks of dialogue, and then it gives you the chance to roll it, and then you're like, oh, fuck, and then you have to make two checks. So I think it's like the third check, and the third check is the red check, so it's not like it's easy and it's not repeatable. So I get why you want to do it. There are some checks that I was like, I just have to get in this, and I did it. I know if you don't get the pinball, you're going to end up feeling how I did about the door. There's a door on the coastline, all the way at the very edge of the coastline. It's like it's presumably door, like right? It's like a little bunker door. It's presumably just like an ammo shed or something like that. But it's the door, and I just like, okay, it's impossible to open. Yeah, it's impossible, and the only way to do it is with the 3, like the 3% chance. So you have to naturally open it, and I'm just like, I want it, and I just eventually gave up on it, and I was just like, if you fail that door, you actually get a thought that's called one more door, and your character will become fixated on the fact that you couldn't open that door, and it's like, this matches me, the player, and my character so much, because this entire game I've opened every door, nothing has been an obstacle, except for this one fucking thing. So, like I said, when I do another playthrough, which I'm excited to, because now we're going to have to do a second episode of this, which I'm excited to. We'll do a part 2 of Disco Elysium. I'm going to make a new character, and I'm going to go open that door. So first, I'm going to, as soon as I can cross over on Wednesday, I'm going up to that thing. I'm going to reroll it 50, fucking 1,000 times. I don't care. I will reroll it until I get that door open. And I'm sure there's nothing in it. Right. I have to do it for me.
See, that's the question. Is there going to be something cool in it, though? Like, if you're going to impress
Kim,
or
you're going to impress Kim. I'm going to open a door.
That's why I need I need the pinball machine for sure, because I'm not sure which one said it. I don't know if it was like the cop spirit one, or if it was my own like conceptualization, or one of the, because it was just like, oh, too bad nobody was here to see you do that. I was like, because. Oh, that was what was neat. I went back with Kim, and if you talk to him, he's actually a pinball champion. Like, you find out through dialogue with him that that's something he did when he was younger, before he was a cop. He was a pinball wizard.
No, it's even more interesting.
Or am I wrong?
He did it while he was a cop, because he was a undercover cop in a like illegal thing, right. And he had to become a pinball master because he had to be able to infiltrate the ranks of these people that were doing illicit pinball related activities. And he's like, I fucking hate this game, but I fucking love my job, and I'm so good at my job, I will be good at this fucking thing I hate. And he just became a pinball master. Yeah. He does not like pinball, but he's so goddamn good at it. So I get why
that's why I gotta pass the check.
I have to impress him, because if I'm good at pinball and he's good at pinball, then we can be like,
yep, exactly. I'll get the nod from him.
That's all
which he's done a couple of times. Right. No, there's been a couple of times I did something and it was like, you get a look from Kim, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
Well,
Yeah,
we're going to
at
wrap
2
up for this
hours, so that's a long
episode,
time.
but we're still going to hit the 2 segments we always hit. So far in this game, what is your favorite part of Disco Elysium?
Oh man, that's a hard one to answer. But it's probably the dialogue options. Like you can go from square, matter of fact, yes, or you can say something totally ridiculous. Like your tie tries to influence you. One of your ties talks to you and says,
Literally,
"Oh no,
yeah.
man, go on, have a drink. It's great." And you can just totally succumb to the peer pressure. And so, like you really have options of being the same guy or playing more like how you said it. There's things that just resonate with you because it's got to be in human nature. And there's a lot of, that's probably what I like about this game the most is it's definitely human nature on display. 2 old men playing bocce ball, eating sandwiches, blue collar workers struggling to get through their life, a very typical union versus workers versus company kind of thing. Everybody's kind of a sleazy scumbag, and you kind of figure out your own way.
And then you have these lorry drivers / truck drivers, these ferrymen who are trying to get through this blockade, but now they're stuck because something that has nothing to do with them. So now they've just been sitting in Martinez for days, just waiting for the strike to end because they can't cross through the docks.
Like, yeah, it's a very expansive story. Like everybody's affected by the actions that are going on. And you have the ability to push it one way or the other, kind of. Because they do try to get you to pick an ideology and not be a fence sitter. I think I got harassed about that a couple of times of not. It was early on too. It was like trying to tell you, hey, pick a more extreme view if you want to get more interesting dialogue. If you try to fence sit and ride the middle all the way down, it's going to be
almost a detriment.
Not as interesting. Right. Because you're not committing to something and getting a result. You're just kind of, eh. And that's one of them too. There's like I just kind of let things happen around me, like vibe to it. But what about you? What was your favorite thing?
I'm going to bring in a different answer for the second episode, but I would have to say it's probably just Kim. Kim Kitsuragi, from the moment you meet him all the way until the very end, which I'm going to push you to finish the game before the next episode. All the way until the literal last sentence in the game, Kim is your ride or die. He is your man. He's your partner. He's your buddy. It never really gets to the point where you're like lovers or whatever, but like you guys are like real bros at the end of the game. And it really felt like you go from having no idea who this guy is or yourself to being like, hey, Kim, you're the man. And it's a simple answer, but Kim is my favorite part of Disco Elysium. He is so good.
Yeah, he's definitely a character that's up there for me. He reminds me of Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black. If you go watch the first Men in Black, Will Smith's like the jokey kind of hey character, but Tommy Lee Jones is very like, put your seatbelt on, Ace. And he's like, don't call me Ace. And he's like, okay, sport. Like, just very matter of fact, like, doesn't deliver it like a joke. And that's how I feel like Kim is. He's very straightforward, but he says funny things. And he definitely is not into the ethereal. He's like, you're crazy. It's not ghosts, I promise you.
Yeah, you have to try really hard to convince Kim to even humor you about the cryptid stuff and all of the ghosts, and that there's a mysterious like aspect to. He's like, no, this is just another police work. It's just another hanging. It's not a big whatever, man. And you have to really get in to trust you to be like, hey, man, no, come on. There's science.
He's reluctant even then. Still, he's like, okay, we'll try it your way. Like it's just like, okay, calm down.
All right, and of course, before we end, we got to make sure that you get in your plugs. So tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Your plugs. You can find me at Spurgsnake on both Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, and at YouTube, Spurgsnake. Just you can type it in; it'll show up now. I got a show with Dylan this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the Angry Video Game Nerd here in about a half hour or so. and part 2 with you. And Monday nights is game show night. So I play like Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune.
And that's a lot of fun
because
because there's a lot of chat interaction with that. So those are really fun.
Yeah, especially with the Family Feud. And it's always encouraged to be inebriated in some way or another and shout out the wrong answers that make the jokes or make the questions jokes. Hey, look at that.
Well, thank you so much for joining. We don't have a date or anything planned, so as soon as I do, you'll see a post or something coming from this channel. Thank you so much for joining, and until then, oh, there it is. Until then, we'll see you next time.